We see kind of two things. We have a bodybuilding esque physique in Mike, and we have the more classic physique in Ramon.
I'm Dave Palumbo, founder of Species Nutrition. I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work and are backed by science. From my earliest bodybuilding days, I believed in only putting the best in my body. And that lives on in the Species Nutrition line of products. We use only top-of-the-line formulations dosed for maximum results and the best flavoring systems available. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
Men's Classic Bodybuilding just let out. Standing here with Wesley Vissers, a champion in his own right, Chris Aceto. We're going to wrap up the action here. It looked like when it was all said and done, Ramon Dino was standing next to Mike the Badass for the title. Who do you got?
I have, by a very small margin, Ramon Dino. Ramon Dino, that's why.
Why?
Because structurally, well, first let's start with Terrence. For me, the best pure tie-in, flex wheeler, shape, flow, symmetry, and by himself, I thought he was the winner. That when he came out, I thought that he would win. And then when they compared him to Mike's a bigger guy, wider, and Ramon's even wider, like Wesley, and taller, like Wesley. So during the comparison of the last call-out, I thought that my eye was drawn towards the smallness of Terrence, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Just I went to Ramon and I went to Mike.
He's short.
So in my mind I started, and he's short, and they're so wide. Mike is wide, Ramon is wide. They're so wide that your eyes start going back and forth to Mike and Ramon. So that's why I narrowed it down to those two.
Good big man always beats a good little man. That's what Arnold said, right?
Yeah, that's very true. So we know for sure what the top three is. However, they were compared pretty much two times in the first call-out. You can see a different comparison to the final call-out. In the first call-out, I believe both Ralph and Ramon were compared to Mike, because he was the one to beat. However, in the final call-out, they were all switched, as Steve likes to do. But now we see kind of two things. We have a bodybuilding esque physique in Mike, and we have the more classic physique in Ramon. But if you look at the bodybuilding criteria that they like to judge with, even in classic, they do judge the proportions, because we saw that Mike was second to Chris last year. He won the RL Classic. However, he had to lose a little bit of weight for this show. He did not have the pop of before. The fullness was gone a little bit, which exposed him to taller guys like Ramon. But I have to say, Mike's presentation from the front and the back, he never slipped. His back conditioning from the legs and the glutes, he held on to it better than Ramon. That's the only thing they can catch Ramon on, is that can Mike beat him only on that. And we have to say, Ramon, as I mentioned, he has a more classic physique, but Mike is a bit better proportionate and more in control of the conditioning.
I felt that Mike, when he won the Arnold, was dominant mostly because he was bigger. Now that obviously there was that height discrepancy, he did get knocked down to high class. He had to come in almost 10 pounds lighter. It's apparent. His conditioning is still stellar. His presentation's stellar, but he's not as big. And a smaller Mike the Badass doesn't beat, in my mind, a Ramon Dino who looks exactly, like we normally see him. He's not downsized. He's pretty much the Dino we've seen. His physique is classic, written all over it. Tiny waist, proportion. If I'm calling this as a classic physique championship, I go with Ramon Dino.
Yeah, I mean, to add to what Wesley said is, Mike to me looked like spectacular, and he looked like the spectacular Mike from 2 years ago when he was smaller and he was fifth, and nobody was really talking about him being like a contender, and I thought in my mind, this guy is a contender to win, and people said he's too small. And then when he came back the following year, which was last year,
Bigger.
he looked gigantic. Now he looks like, due to the weight cap,
He's more
a
vulnerable.
refined version of 2 years ago.
But he's more vulnerable.
Yeah, which makes him more vulnerable. So 3 pounds more, 4 pounds more, as you know, it's a totally different physique. And that's what I saw towards the end of prejudging. I didn't see the dominance like at the Arnold, the wow, and it's due to the weight.
You think they're going to work these guys hard tonight?
For sure, it's going to have to be rejudged at finals. I personally also believe they should just do this every single time.
I do too.
Just like the open class, so there's no doubt at the end of the day who's going to win. So at the finals, I think they will rejudge it. So the only thing, the only way that Mike can ensure his dominance is if he can somehow carve up between now and the finals. However, the difference between open is they don't have 2 days, they only have 1 day.
You know what my answer is? Cheeseburgers and fries.
Yeah, it's just, this is such a crazy sport in that we keep reviewing these like last night and this night, and it's never done. It is never done, and you can look phenomenal in prejudging and just have not popped your muscle, and that's it. You could drop a plate.
What are you going to do with Ramon now after prejudging?
I think allow him to relax his diet, drink and eat, clean.
Would you like him drier for tonight?
I would like him drier for tonight too. A drier and a little fuller. It's still, he's still struggling, of course.
Well, he had to make weight.
To make that weight, and it's hard for me to judge him because I'm judging him what I saw 4 weeks ago, and when I'm looking at him here, he's the only athlete because he has to make weight that I help that you goes on stage and you don't see what you want to see because you can't see what you want to see.
I mean, a lot of the guys have the same problem, and I know a lot of these guys didn't make weight at the weigh-in, and they had to really kill themselves, and it showed in the looks.
I was there. I was at the weigh-ins for the first time, not having to weigh in myself. So I saw a lot of guys come out, go to the sauna, go to the bathroom, try stuff to lose weight because they were hiding in shorter. Rather than being overweight, they were thinking they were taller than they actually were. So losing water in such a short amount of time does something to the physique that is very difficult to bring back alive.
It takes a week to get that back.
Yeah.
Well, we won't know who's going to win till later tonight. Ramon Dino versus Mike the Badass. What a great battle. I can't wait to find out what's going to happen. Don't forget the Species Nutrition Olympia sale. Use Olympia30 as your coupon code on checkout. You get 30% off the entire website. Half price on Testalize. $24.99. Free shipping if you live in the continental United States and you spend over $100. I'm Dave Palumbo with Chris Aceto and Wesley Vissers. We'll see you later.